Several years ago, studies were done looking around the world to find where people live the longest, then examine their lifestyles. They found 5 areas in the world, across very different cultures and regions, where people regularly lived to be 100 and older. As they did the research, the team marked these locations on a map with blue circles, and they came to be known as blue zones. There are 5 blue zones. One is in Okinawa, Japan, where women who live over 70 join the group of longest-lived people on Earth. The Barbargian region of Sardinia, which is an island off the coast of Italy, has the highest concentration of men over 100 years old. The Nicoya peninsula in Costa Rica, in Central America, has the lowest rate of middle-age mortality and the second highest concentration of men over 100. On Ikaria, Greece, which is an island in the Aegean Sea, they have the lowest rate of dementia in the world. The Seventh-day Adventist religious community is based in Loma Linda, California, a suburb outside of Los Angeles. This population lives on average 10 years longer than other North Americans. What is so unique about a blue zone lifestyle? What do they do differently that leads to lifespans being 10 to 20 years longer than other people in their countries? Let's take a look at the 9 lifestyle factors where people in blue zones might be doing things differently than in your neighborhood. The first attribute shared across blue zones is that their people move regularly throughout their days. They don't have workout sessions to get their cardio in or pump iron in given time slots in otherwise sedentary days. Activity is naturally woven into the fabric of their days. They don't go from sitting behind a computer all morning, then walk to the sandwich place at lunch, or get their steps in on a treadmill after work. Besides walking, the blue zone populations often have gardens that they tend without power tools. When you garden and do yard work, you regularly bend over at the waist, squat down, and strenuously use your upper body to move things. In other words, you move through multiple planes of motion in ways that maintain your ranges of joint motion, flexibility, and coordination. You also maintain the strength to manage how your body moves through space so you're less prone to losing your balance and falling. The ability to either get up from sitting on the floor or from a squat position without assistance is a critical factor in maintaining a minimum level of strength and balance over the decades. Slipping and falling in the bathroom is one of the most common ways that the elderly get hurt, then get hospitalized, then too often don't get to come home. The elderly in blue zones maintain a sense of purpose or create new ones, whether it's being an active elder in their family or being actively engaged in their communities. Studies have shown that the 2 most dangerous years in a person's life are their first year as an infant, because of the many diseases and risks that contribute to infant mortality, and the first year that a person retires from their job. If you don't actively envision and plan for how you will proceed into your post-professional life, you invite health risks. These include health risks like heart attacks and mental health risks like depression and alcoholism, which in turn accelerate physical issues. In some blue zone cultures, they do not even have a word in their vocabulary for retire. They have ongoing ways to maintain social and intellectual engagement and don't fixate their identities to categories that will fade away like a job role. Even people in the blue zones experience stress, which science has shown contributes to chronic inflammation. Over the decades, chronic inflammation weakens key physical systems, chipping away at your weakest link, leading to disease or major events like heart attack or stroke. People in the blue zones have routines in their days for releasing stress, whether it is praying, taking a nap, or remembering their ancestors, which broadens their frame of reference for thinking about the problems of their day. Since these stress-releasing activities are a normal part of their days, over the course of months and years, they become important elements of maintaining a psychologic hygiene, which also supports long-term physical well-being. The next areas that separate blue zones from the rest of us is in how they relate to food. They don't overeat, and one way they avoid doing so is to stop eating when they start to feel sated at about 80% full. There is a lag time between our bodies activating digestive enzymes in response to meals and the digestion process really getting underway. Having this kind of self-awareness around how you eat makes it less likely that your lifestyle will lead to getting overweight. When it comes to dinner, having habits that don't contribute to overeating will contribute to sleeping better since your body won't have to work overtime to break the meal down, and that leads to better physical recovery and maintaining balance in your physical systems. Here are some ways to normalize having smaller portions. 1. Use smaller plates. 2. Don't eat while watching television so your dining can become more conscious and engaged, which will make you more satisfied while consuming less food than chowing in front of the telly. 3. Go for a 10-minute walk after you eat. 5 minutes away from your residence and 5 minutes back. A post-meal walk stimulates your digestion process and improves your regulation of blood sugar, which has many long-term health benefits. Apart from being conscious of how much you eat, of course, what you eat is very important. People in blue zones don't eat food that comes out of boxes or bags. Most of these regions do not have convenience stores or big supermarkets. They generally eat as their ancestors did, focusing on food coming from plants with light meat consumption or being completely vegetarian. From a physical perspective, your body doesn't have to work as hard to break down and absorb nutrients from plants as it does to break down the density of meat. Over the course of decades, these lighter physical demands are beneficial. Blue zone populations have dramatically lower incidences of diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. Interestingly, in all of the blue zones except for the Seventh-day Adventist Blue Zone group of Loma Linda, California, people regularly have 1 to 2 alcoholic drinks, usually with food and in the company of friends. Important note, they don't save up their weekly alcohol allocation of 14 wine glasses to binge it all on Saturday night, then rationalize things with their daily average. Among those Blue Zone members who are over 100 years old, almost all are members of a faith-based community. Of course, the denominations differ across the continents where Blue Zones are found, so the important characteristic is not a given set of beliefs. Perhaps since Homo sapiens evolved from hunter-gatherer tribes, then lived as extended, multi-generational families, there's something special about being a member of a group that regularly convenes and shares a value system and beliefs. They have a sense of belonging. The research shows that attending faith-based services 4 times per month increases life expectancy by 4 to 14 years. People in the blue zones tend to have good family relations, so the elderly parent or grandparent is likely to live with their family or at least live nearby. They are active members of their families, enjoying time with the children in the home. Interestingly, from a statistical perspective, when the grand or great-grandparent lives in the home shared by the children, there is a lower rate of childhood disease and mortality. The elderly of the blue zones have usually committed to a single life partner. Throughout their lives, they've been active and engaged parents, which would contribute to their being welcomed members of their children's households decades later, rather than being put into the isolated experience of old folks' homes. In personal development literature, they say you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. As humans, we calibrate our sense of what is normal and expected and appropriate in relation to who we're around. If the people you spend time with eat packaged foods and drink a lot of soda every day, becoming a bit chubby and diabetic may just seem part of life these days, since you see that on a regular basis. Alternatively, if the people in your life are regularly active, that becomes your normal, and you become more likely to become regularly active yourself. Modern life is fragmented socially, so maintaining in real life friendships rather than a series of social media likes is more difficult than it's ever been in history. It's not out of the ordinary at all for contemporary adults to have fewer than 5 in real life friends that are regular parts of their lives. Having no such friends at all is also not out of the ordinary. This is not the case for the elderly of the blue zones. Being members of close-knit communities that are generally apart from broader society, blue zone elders usually have a number of lifelong friends that they regularly get together with for the enjoyment of life, as well as navigating life's more difficult experiences. The combination of practices contributing to a resilient body and ways of life that contribute to a sense of belonging at multiple levels appear to be very life-affirming and life-sustaining.